Ever feel like you blinked and suddenly everyone's talking about AI making art?
It really has exploded, hasn't it?
Yeah. So today, we're diving deep into that whole whirlwind of opinions. We're looking at arguments both for and, well, against.
Trying to make sense of it all.
Exactly. Think of this as like your express pass to understanding the core of this whole creative and, pretty controversial shift. We're focusing on the criticisms, the pushback against AI art. And we got some really interesting stuff here, looking at it from, well, quite different angles.
Yeah, one perspective almost sees AI as, just the next logical step for artistic tools.
Right, like the camera or Photoshop or something.
But then the other really digs into what they see as, like, fundamental problems with the whole concept.
So our mission today really is to unpack these key arguments, try to cut through the jargon.
Yeah, the tech speak can be a lot.
So you listening can really get a handle on what's being debated and, maybe start forming your own take on it all.
It's definitely a conversation that's gotten quite polarized. And as we look at these different views, it's clear the disagreements often come down to really different ideas about what art even is.
And how creativity works, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump right in. This whole mechanical versus creative thing, it's a big one.
A central criticism for sure.
So one side, pretty critical, basically says, and I'm paraphrasing a bit from our source, that all AI can do is innately mathematical, the repeated and successive application of algorithms.
Right, painting it as just, sophisticated number crunching.
So the core criticism seems to be, can code really create? Or is it always just calculating, just copying?
That's the heart of it, yeah. The worry is that because AI runs on algorithms and learns from piles of existing data.
Like existing art, photos.
Exactly, that its output is always going to be derivative, fundamentally, not truly original.
Compared to the traditional view, with the artist having this unique vision, bringing something totally new into the world, not just repeating stuff.
That idea of human originality springing from some inner source.
But then there's another angle we found. It suggests that AI being so good at mimicking technical skills.
Like brushstrokes or musical style.
Yeah, that it actually shows how much human art also relies on, well, learned techniques.
Yeah.
Established methods.
It does kind of pull back the curtain on that myth of pure spontaneous originality, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, if an AI can learn to paint like Van Gogh or compose like Bach just by analyzing their work.
Which they're getting pretty good at.
Right. It makes you question, well, how much of human mastery is also about learning and applying structures, rules, patterns, techniques?
It challenges that idea of art being this totally mysterious, undefinable thing.
And it leads into this potential redefinition of creativity.
How so?
Well, instead of seeing creativity as this like uniquely human magic spark, the idea is maybe it's something that can emerge in any system, human or AI, that gets good at navigating structured rules.
Oh, okay. Like, think of a painter mastering composition, or a musician understanding harmony.
Or a writer using grammar and story structure. There are always frameworks in art, rules to follow or, break intentionally.
So creativity becomes less about pulling something from nothing and more about skillfully working within or against a system.
That's the idea. And it connects back to that mechanical criticism. When critics say AI art is mechanical, maybe they're missing something.
What do you mean?
Well, mechanical doesn't have to mean rigid or like soulless. It could just mean following systematic, learnable processes.
Processes that even human artists use, consciously or unconsciously.
Precisely. So AI getting good at those processes doesn't suddenly devalue human creativity. If anything, it might just shed light on the underlying structure of creativity.
Okay, so it's not saying humans are robots.
Not at all.
But acknowledging that even super expressive art often works within certain rules or boundaries.
Right. And when AI gets good at navigating those same rules, it doesn't diminish us. It just maybe helps us understand how creativity works more badly.
So the takeaway here is maybe creativity, no matter the tool, is about navigating these systems. Paint, words, code, prompts in new and interesting ways.
Exactly. Whether it's a chisel or a well-crafted prompt, you're interacting with a system, and the creativity is in how you explore its possibilities.
Okay, interesting point. Let's shift gears a bit. Another major criticism that comes up a lot, the environmental impact.
Ah, yes, the energy consumption issue.
Yeah, the concern is that generating all this AI art is, wasteful, a carbon-intensive luxury maybe, especially now.
And that's a totally valid concern to raise in today's world. Generating AI images does take significant computing power.
No doubt. servers running, electricity flowing.
hmm But one of the counter-arguments our sources raise is that, well, all cloud-based stuff uses a ton of energy.
Right, like streaming Netflix or just Googling things or scrolling through Instagram.
All of it. It all runs on huge server farms that need massive amounts of power.
So the point is, maybe singling out AI art for its energy use is kind of
Yeah.
missing the forest for the trees if the whole digital world runs on this infrastructure.
That's the argument. It's shared infrastructure. It's like blaming one specific website for the internet's total energy footprint. It's all interconnected.
And there's also the point about training versus generating, right?
Yes, that's important. Training these huge AI models, that is very energy intensive. It happens once or maybe periodically for updates.
But actually using the trained model to make one picture.
Comparatively, much, much less energy intensive. The heavy lifting is mostly done upfront during training.
Okay.
And furthermore, one source brings up a really crucial point about how we value different uses of energy.
How do you mean?
They use this analogy. Libraries versus candles. Both use resources, right? Building and heating a library takes energy. Burning candles takes resources. But we don't judge their value equally based only on resource consumption. We think about their cultural significance, their societal purpose.
So it makes you ask, is creating art, even AI art, inherently more wasteful than, say, streaming another cat video? Based on what criteria?
Exactly. It forces a conversation about what we deem a worthy use of energy in our culture. It's not just about the kilowatt hours.
That's a really good point to chew on. Okay, let's pivot again. This idea of technology is just an extension of creativity.
Yeah, the argument that art isn't really about the tool itself.
It transcends the tool.
Right. It's about the intention, the idea behind the work. And this perspective leans heavily on art history.
How so?
Well, think about it. Artists have always jumped on new technologies. Our sources mention things like oil paints. That was new tech once.
Really? Okay.
The printing press, photography, early digital software. All these things faced skepticism initially. People argued they weren't real art.
Photography is the classic example, isn't it? Just a machine capturing reality, supposedly no skill involved compared to painting.
Exactly. It was seen as purely mechanical, and now it's obviously a hugely diverse and respected art form.
So the argument is AI is just the latest step in that same progression, another tool for the artist's toolbox.
That's the core idea. And tool is the key word. It's presented as an extension of human creativity, not a replacement for it.
Because you still need the human.
Absolutely. You need the human to guide it, crafting the prompts, selecting the outputs, tweaking things, deciding what to do with the image, how to frame it conceptually.
Right. The AI isn't just sitting there having its own artistic epiphanies. It needs direction.
One source actually calls it a semi-autonomous collaborative medium.
Ooh, I like that. Semi-autonomous collaborative.
Yeah, it captures that sense of partnership. The AI brings its capabilities, sometimes surprising ones, but the human steers, curates, and gives it meaning.
It's a dialogue between the artist and the machine.
Without that human context and intention, an AI image might be technically impressive, but does it mean anything? Does it resonate? Often not.
Which leads us nicely into this next bit about the conceptual side of art.
Right. The question of, is art about the physical making, the craft, or is it more about the idea?
The concept.
And the go-to example here, which our sources bring up, is Marcel Duchamp's fountain.
The urinal.
The sign urinal, exactly, a pivotal piece. It blew up traditional definitions by saying, look, the artist's idea and the act of placing this everyday object in an art context is the art, not the craftsmanship of making a urinal.
Yeah, that really shifted things. It wasn't about technical skill at all. It was purely conceptual.
And the sources mention others, too, like Yves Klein's The Void, basically an empty gallery, or John Cage's 433.
A silent music piece.
Right, where the concept, the framework, the idea is the artwork, much more than the traditional execution.
So how does AI art fit into this?
Well, the argument is that AI-generated work can fit within this conceptual tradition, even if algorithms are involved.
Right.
If the final piece is driven by a specific artistic intent.
Like using AI to comment on surveillance culture, maybe? Or the nature of synthetic media?
Exactly. If it's exploring a theme, making a statement, then its value can come from its conceptual weight, not just how it was made or how pretty it looks.
So it's about using AI as a tool to explore ideas and provoke thought, just like Duchamp used a urinal.
In a way, yes. It's leveraging the technology for conceptual ends. And our sources point out that contemporary artists are already doing this, using AI to push artistic boundaries.
Which brings us to how artistic identity itself might be changing, and this idea of democratization.
Yeah, the core idea here being the artist defines the tool. The tool doesn't define the artist.
That feels right, doesn't it? Like owning a fancy paintbrush doesn't automatically make you Rembrandt.
Exactly. It's about the vision and skill you bring to the tool. And our understanding of what an artist is has evolved over time anyway, alongside culture and cognition.
So how does AI challenge this?
Well, it definitely messes with our usual ideas about authorship and creative agency.
Like who is the artist when AI is involved? Is it the person who wrote the prompt?
Is it the engineers who built the AI? Does the AI itself get some credit? These are fuzzy new questions.
It really blurs those lines between creator and creation. But there's a flip side, too, isn't there? This democratization idea.
Yes, absolutely. The sources really highlight the potential for AI to open up creative expression.
No, by making it easier.
Partly. Think about people with physical limitations who can't paint or sculpt traditionally, or people who lack access to expensive art supplies or formal training. AI could give them tools to bring their creative visions to life.
Lowering the barrier to entry, basically.
Precisely. As one source puts it, the democratization of tools fundamentally enables the democratization of expression itself.
That's a powerful thought, making creativity accessible to more people.
It could unlock potential in folks who never had the chance before.
Okay, and finally, this really interesting kind of emerging idea, prompt engineering as maybe a new art form.
Yeah, it's still very early days for this idea, but the comparison one source makes is fascinating. They compare it to the early days of hip-hop.
Hip-hop, how does that connect?
Well, think about early hip-hop. DJs took existing tech turntables, records, and used them in completely new, creative ways. Sampling, scratching.
Right, techniques that weren't part of traditional music making, and they faced resistance.
Oh, yeah. Lots of people dismissed it, didn't see it as real music initially. Often resistance comes from those benefiting from the established way of doing things.
Okay, I see the parallel. So prompt engineering, this skill of writing, really effective, nuanced text prompts to guide AI image generators.
It's maybe in a similar phase now. It requires a different kind of creativity, more linguistic, conceptual understanding how the AI thinks.
And it's probably facing skepticism from parts of the traditional art world.
Very likely.
Huh?
That's often the reaction to disruptive shifts. People invested in the old structures might resist the new ones that challenge their expertise or status.
But the feeling is this potential is there, and as more people play with it and get good at it.
Its legitimacy and expressive power as a distinct art form, or at least a distinct creative skill, will probably become more obvious.
It suggests creativity isn't just about traditional skills, like drawing or playing an instrument. It can also be about finding clever ways to interact with new tech.
Like the hip-hop pioneers did with turntables, yeah. Prompt engineers are innovating with language and algorithms, discovering the creative space within this new system.
Wow, okay. So wrapping this deep dive up, we've really seen this core tension, haven't we?
Definitely. Is AI art genuine creativity, or is it just sophisticated mimicry, mechanical process versus artistic tool?
Yeah, and we've heard the arguments. It's mathematical, it copies, it uses too much energy.
But also, it reveals the structures in human creativity. It's just the next step in artistic tools, like photography was. It democratizes expression. It can be used conceptually.
And even that mechanical label can be flipped, right?
Right.
To suggest it highlights the structured, learnable side of all art.
It really forces us to re-examine what we mean by originality, skill, and even art itself in this new landscape.
So the big question left hanging, maybe for our listeners to think about, as AI keeps evolving, what does it actually mean to be creative?
Is it about the process, the sweat, and physical craft?
Or is it about the intention, the idea?
Yeah.
Or maybe just the final impact on the viewer?
And as you listening, encounter more and more AI-generated stuff out there, how will you decide where it fits? What's its place in the world of art or culture more broadly?
It's definitely a conversation that's just getting started. Lots more to explore there.
Absolutely. Hopefully this gives people some good food for thought to form their own conclusions.